Let's go Dolphins! A twist has just occurred that could completely change the direction of our strategy for the 2026 NFL Draft. What if I told you the Dolphins were about to receive extra draft picks, and now they might walk away empty-handed? That's right, 0 compensatory picks. And the reason for this might frustrate you as much as it frustrated me. It's not just bad luck, it's about decisions made at the end of the season, missed opportunities, and a front office walking a tightrope with the salary cap. The situation is much more complicated than it seems at first glance, and I'm going to explain it all to you. So don't scroll down, don't leave. If you're a true Dolphins fan, I need you to click the like button right now. But only if you followed this team through the pain, the rebuilds, and the disappointments. If you identify with this, comment below, go Dolphins! We were made for more than disappointments, because what I'm about to reveal might leave you speechless, or even make you scream at the screen. Here we go. Here's the deal. The Dolphins were hoping for a boost, some extra draft capital in the form of compensatory picks for 2026. That could have meant double-digit selections, giving Miami a chance to inject young, cheap, controllable talent into a roster that badly needs it. But that ideal scenario? It's slipping away. Right now, the Dolphins are projected to have 8 picks in the April 2026 NFL Draft. On paper, that's not bad. In fact, 5 of those are within the top 90, which means 5 chances to land top 100 caliber players. You're talking about Miami owning their first, second, and 3 third-rounders. Then there are 3 picks on day 3 in the 4th, 5th, and 7th rounds. Pretty solid, right? But here's the kicker. When fans and analysts alike were expecting compensatory picks, maybe even thanks to losing major contributors like Jevon Holland or missing out on Anthony Weaver's potential head coach hire, the reality hit hard. Nothing. No comp picks. Not one. According to Over the Cap's current projection, every potential comp pick Miami could have received has been canceled out. The Dolphins aren't expected to get even a single one. That's a major letdown, especially for a team that had a whopping 26 pending unrestricted free agents heading into last offseason, names like Jevon Holland, Jordan Poyer, Robert Jones, Liam Eichenberg, and Tyrell Dodson, all guys who logged serious snaps in 2024. And yet, the math, as complicated and frustrating as it is, just doesn't fall Miami's way. Let's zoom in on the case of Jevon Holland. He left Miami in free agency and signed a 4-year deal with the New York Giants, a contract big enough that analysts assumed Miami would get a 4th-round comp pick in return. Makes sense, right? A longtime starter, played heavy snaps, solid deal elsewhere, classic comp pick formula. But Miami's own free agent signings like Zach Wilson, James Daniels, Ashtyn Davis, Ifeatu Melifonwu, and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine canceled everything out. And here's the painful irony. Some of these guys, particularly Melifonwu and Westbrook-Ikhine, played significant snaps late in the season when Miami was already out of playoff contention. If they hadn't played as much, there's a real chance that 4th-round comp pick for Holland would have come through. That's the kind of costly miscalculation that can ripple through an entire offseason strategy. And let's not forget the other route Miami could have used to earn a comp pick, coaching movement. Had Anthony Weaver landed a head coaching job, Miami would have received a 3rd-round comp pick in both 2026 and 2027. Instead, he joined the Ravens as a defensive coordinator. No head coach title, no pick. The bottom line? All signs are pointing to Miami being stuck at 8 picks in 2026. Not bad, but not what it could have been. And for a front office trying to reload while managing a tight cap situation, that hurts. The new leadership group, Jeff Hafley and John Eric Sullivan, could have used a double-digit draft class to infuse fresh talent across the board. Because make no mistake, this team has needs. Big ones. Offensively, quarterback is the glaring hole. We don't know what the future holds at that position, and until that's resolved, everything else is on hold. But even beyond that, the Dolphins need a right tackle, especially with Austin Jackson's future uncertain. They need a WR2, assuming Tyreek Hill could be on the way out. A long-term tight end? That too. But that's not even the biggest problem area. Defense is where the alarm bells are ringing. Miami needs pass rushers, young high-level cornerback play both outside and in the slot, and absolutely must find a long-term safety to fill the hole left by Holland. Without elite defensive playmakers, this team isn't built for deep playoff runs, even with a functioning offense. That's where the trade-down scenario becomes especially intriguing. Miami holds the 11th overall pick in the 1st round. And according to the draft value chart, that pick is worth approximately 1,250 points. That's real value. That's value that could turn one pick into 2 or 3, including more day 2 picks where the meat of the draft lies. One hypothetical example, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They could fall in love with a quarterback like Ty Simpson and want to trade up. If Miami drops from 11 to 21, they could pick up Pittsburgh's 2nd-round pick, 53rd overall, and a projected 3rd-round comp pick, 99th overall. That turns 8 picks into 10, and most importantly, 5 picks inside the top 100 becomes 7 picks inside the top 100. That's massive. Let's say you land a stud tight end like Kenyon Sadiq at 21, then add defenders like edge rusher Keldrick Falk or cornerbacks Jared McCoy or Mansour Delane in the 2nd and 3rd. Suddenly, this draft transforms from a solid one into a foundational one for Miami's future. But here's where things get complicated. If one of 4 specific prospects is still on the board at 11, Caleb D.S., safety from Ohio State, Ruben Bain Jr., edge, Miami, David Bailey, edge, Texas Tech, or Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State, that trade might be off the table. These are plug-and-play starters, guys who can change a defense from day one. If any of them are there, it's probably best to stand pat and make the pick. That's especially true for someone like Styles. If Miami moves on from Tyrel Dodson to save $3 million in cap space, Sonny Styles could pair with Jordan Brooks to form a hard-hitting linebacker duo. Or maybe you land Ruben Bain to light up the edge. Miami needs these guys, because the truth is either path could define the future of this franchise. Let's play out both scenarios, starting with the trade down. If Miami pulls the trigger and moves back from 11 to 21, picks up additional day 2 selections, and still lands a high-level talent at 21, that's a win. Think about the flexibility it gives this front office. You could double down on edge rushers, add a future WR2, and still take a swing on a long-term solution at tight end. That kind of draft haul could reset the foundation of this roster under a new regime. In that scenario, imagine a draft class that looks something like this. Kenyon Sadiq or Caden Proctor at 21 for the offensive line, Jamed McCoy at 43 to secure the boundary corner spot, someone like Roman Wilson at 53 for that much-needed speed threat behind Waddle, and then a tight end like Jared Wiley or Jatavian Sanders with one of those third-rounders. That's before even mentioning what you could do at edge or safety later on. Suddenly you've addressed 5 key positions with potential starters, without having to reach, without breaking the bank, and all while navigating around your tight cap situation. That's smart team building. That's how you stay competitive year after year. But on the flip side, if Caleb D.S., Ruben Bain Jr., David Bailey, or Sonny Styles is still sitting there at 11, there's no question you have to think long and hard about sticking and picking. These aren't just good prospects, they're tone setters. And Miami hasn't had enough of those guys in the building. Caleb D.S. could fill the hole left by Javon Holland and possibly exceed expectations. His range, instincts, and leadership have drawn comparisons to all pro-level safeties. You need that center fielder type guy in today's pass-heavy NFL. And let's not forget, the Dolphins don't currently have a long-term answer at that position. Pairing DS with Jevon Poyer or even grooming him to be the next solo deep safety could give Vic Fangio, or whoever is calling the shots on defense next, a real weapon. Ruben Bain Jr. is another name Dolphins fans should know well. He's a local product, a high-motor edge rusher with production and explosiveness. His ability to disrupt in both run and pass situations would bring needed juice to Miami's front seven. If you're going to beat Mahomes, Allen, or Burrow, you better be able to collapse the pocket from both edges. That's where Bain and Bailey become critical options. David Bailey, coming out of Texas Tech, isn't getting the same hype as some of the SEC guys, but make no mistake, he's a top-tier pass rusher. He's got bend, power, and a relentless motor. He'd be an ideal fit for Miami's attacking scheme, especially if the Dolphins don't retain some of their older veteran edge players this offseason. And then there's Sonny Styles, the potential linebacker cornerstone. He's fast, rangy, and tough, the kind of player who gives you everything from sideline to sideline coverage to downhill thump. And if Miami does part ways with Tyrel Dodson, Sonny Styles could walk in and start beside Jordan Brooks on day one, and you'd have one of the fastest linebacker duos in the NFL. Now, imagine having to pass on one of those 4 players just to pick up more draft capital. That's where the dilemma lies. More picks mean more chances to hit, but a blue-chip prospect at a premium position might be the safer long-term investment. The draft is a gamble, no matter